This is episode 1 of the Inspired Entrepreneur's Guide podcast. I'm your host, Darlene Victoria. In this first episode, I wanted to just give you an idea of what you can expect from the podcast series, and also share with you why I decided to start the Inspired Entrepreneur's Guide podcast. So here we go. To set up the stage for this little story I'm about to share, I want to go back to 2008 when I started my business. And I started my business in February 2008, and I'd like to say in April of that same year, I started my very first podcast. It was called A Virtual Perception, and the target audience was the virtual assistant industry. I would interview and speak with virtual assistants as well as people that work alongside virtual assistants. And later on, I also evolved into sharing tips and resources that virtual assistants can use for the growth of their business, like marketing, networking, working on your website copy, and all of that great stuff. So I did that for about 4 years. I loved every minute of it. But after 4 years, kind of got burned out. So I went on a hiatus, and between 2011 and 2015, I produced podcast series here and there, but none of them really were like A Virtual Perception. A Virtual Perception was my baby, and it was something I was deeply, deeply passionate about. And I've been wanting and looking to do something that I'm deeply passionate about again in terms of creating a podcast. So fast forward now to this year. In 2015, I decided to launch an ebook called The Inspired Entrepreneur's Guide to Living and Growing Successfully. Funny enough, I wrote this ebook back in 2008, and along with my hiatus, my creativity kind of took a vacation too, I guess, because it wasn't until this year that I picked it back up, finished it, and put it out into the world. It got me thinking, well, wait a minute. The book is all about self-awareness and self-help to get you into the frame of mind, into a positive frame of mind to start your business. And one thing I've noticed about many, many new business owners, and even business owners that have been in business for a few years, is the lack of confidence, fear. First, the fear of starting, followed later on by maybe the fear of success, being stopped by certain obstacles, whether it's by people or circumstance, and so many other things. And the ebook addresses this. There's exercises and all. But this podcast isn't about the ebook. It's about what led me to realize that this is the perfect platform for a new podcast. I want to bring my passion and share inspiration from other entrepreneurs with you and the listeners to inspire you to take that first step, to take that very first action that you need to take to make your dreams of owning your own business a reality. So that's entirely what the whole premise of the Inspired Entrepreneur's Guide is all about. Currently plan on producing episodes once a week. In a month, you'll have 2 podcasts where it's just me, and I'm going to share tips and resources that can help you along your way in growing and starting your business. And then the other 2 podcasts will actually be interviews with people like you who were there wanting to start a business, and they did it, and they are thriving and working their tails off to grow and be an entrepreneur. And they'll share with you fears, obstacles that they had to overcome, why they started a business, and many other inspiring tidbits. And I cannot wait to share these interviews with you. So folks, that is really what this podcast series is in a nutshell. And I'm super excited. I'm pumped. I already have about 10 episodes planned. They have not all been recorded yet, but they are planned. So that is an awesome thing. If you are someone that started their business and want to share a little bit about why you started the business and some of the steps you have taken to get there, I'd love for you to be a guest. This podcast is not about interviewing entrepreneurs that have been in business for years and years and years. If you've been in business for 6 months, you got there. You worked your tail off for 6 months, and I want to hear from you because you have something inspiring to say. If you're an entrepreneur that's been in business for years and would like to share your story with my listeners, please contact me as well. I'd love to hear from you. It's people like you that will make this show what I hope it can truly be. So you can contact me at dvpodcasts.com. So that's DV as in Darlene Victoria, podcasts.com. There's a contact page on that website, and you can just contact me through there to be a guest on this podcast. I'd love to hear from you. You can also go to that same website to leave questions, feedback, or topic suggestions for future episodes. Finally, you can connect with me on Twitter at Darlene Victoria. You can like my Facebook page at facebook.com/Darlene Victoria Work. So that's all I have for this week's episode. I don't want to ramble on. I like to keep things short and sweet if I can. So join me next week for my very first Inspiring Entrepreneur interview with Kyle Hunt of Remodel Your Marketing. Make your week a great one. This is Darlene Victoria, signing out. This podcast was brought to you by The Inspired Entrepreneur's Guide to Living and Growing Successfully, a workbook to inspire and spark your entrepreneurial soul. You can pick up the book at inspiredguide.darlenevictoria.com. Use code InspiredGuidePodcast at checkout to receive a discount and get the book for just $4. That's right, use code InspiredGuidePodcast and get my ebook, The Inspired Entrepreneur's Guide to Living and Growing Successfully, for $4. Become inspired by the most important person in your life, you. Stop dreaming and start doing. You deserve it.